So imagine you know a person as Sasha and then suddenly find out that he's actually Aleksandr. Or the other way around. You've been working, for example, with a Pavel and then hear his mother or wife call him Pasha.
So this doesn't immediately work for all names, and it's actually a bit complex. So we're gonna break it down.
Yeah. So in the Russian culture, it's normal for a person to have multiple names. You have the official full name, which you have written in all the documents, like the passport, etc. And then you have these informal names that are used among close friends, informal circumstances, basically. Kind of like what in the American culture you have Richard, and Richard can become Rick or Rich or even Dick. And Michael can become Mike, Theodore becomes Ted, etc.
So Aleksandr becomes Sasha or Shurik.
That's actually Shura. That's actually
Shura. Shura, it's my father's name is Aleksandr, and close friends called him Shura. And my name is Masha, which is short name from Maria.
Yep, Masha's actually Maria.
So I'm Maria in the documents, but close friends and in informal circumstances, people call me Masha.
And there's other variations of that name too. Maria is the Russian name, Maria. It doesn't just get shortened to Masha. It depends on the person's choice. A person could be called Marusia or Manya. It depends on their preferences and just like what they've been historically called by others.
So another examples like Alexei would be Alyosha or Losha.
Or even Locha.
And
it sounds weird when you try to pronounce it like anglicize the pronunciation, yeah? In English, this name is pronounced as Alexei, but the stress is actually different. In Russian, the last syllable is stressed, so it's Alexei. Right, it's not Alexei, it's Alexei in Russian.
It's like Anastasia is Anastasia.
Anastasia, yeah, the suffix gets stressed.
And it...
So, but Alexei does, this name becomes Alyosha or Lyosha or Lyocha. If you've spoken to Russians, I'm sure you've heard these variations.
Yeah, so Anastasia, which is Anastasia in Russian, becomes Nastya.
Nastya.
And what else? Like Vladimir.
Vladimir. So in Russian would be Vladimir, like the stress would be different. That name also gets modified. Vladimir becomes what? It becomes
Vova.
Volodya. It can even become Vavan or Vovchik.
And this is actually ancient, and it has to do with like Greek names, right?
It has to do, so when Russia became Christian, you had all these new names get into the country over time. Their origins were Greek or Latin or Hebrew. And in order to kind of like get adapted to Slavic phonetics, or just simply in order to shorten them colloquially, these variations came about. So, and it doesn't mean that like all names follow this formula, but a lot can. Yeah, one important side note. If you don't know that person very well,
don't call this person like any variations of informal variations of her or his name.
Yes.
At least or unless the person asks you to.
It's not that the person asks you to, it's just if you try to refer to a person that you don't know very well or you have a more formal relationship with by their informal name, that would actually be pretty rude. You know, so it's always a good idea to refer to the person by the name they introduced themselves as. So follow that formula. And if in doubt, ask. You know, for example, if you feel that your relationship is becoming less formal and their friends, refer to that person by something else, ask. Ask if it's okay if you call like Alexei, the person you've known as Alexei, ask if you can call them Lyosha like everybody else, like their friends do. So it's kind of like, a way to like place yourself among those friends.
It's
just an example.
Yeah, it's like I introduce myself as Masha, so I prefer people to call me Masha, not Maria.
She actually doesn't like to be called Maria. She doesn't like to be called by her formal name.
Yeah, it's formal. I don't like it. And you have, and if you have a Russian boss, like Vladimir, for example, don't call him Vova.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah, that would be weird and rude and
It's like imagine you have a boss named Michael, and you go like, "Hey, Mikey," It's not going to fly. But again, as I mentioned, not all names follow this formula. It doesn't really depend on anything. It just depends on the individual name. A lot of shorter names, like Slavic names, like, well, actually they're Scandinavian, I believe, in their origin, but like Oleg, or Igor, right? These names, they don't really get shortened readily. Or my name, actually, Martin, which is a very rare name. You're not going to hear another Russian. You're not going to see another Russian with this name. My actual name is Martin. So there is this "y" sound, Martin, right? It doesn't really get readily shortened. There are ways to modify these names in even more informal circumstances among friends or family, and it can go even deeper because of the structure of the Russian language, the way Russian suffixes work. In reality, there's like loads of variations to a person's name, to just about anybody, because of these suffixes. So we're going to bring a few examples.
Like, for example, my name, Masha, can be Mashenka.
Mashenka. So you have this suffix like Yanka, Mashenka, like Katya could become Katinka, right? Misha could become Mishenka. So this suffix is kind of like used when you want to express tenderness or warmth, right? So you modify the name itself, and it creates an emotional shade of tenderness by using this suffix, right? Masha, Mashenka.
Usually parents call children adding that
Yes.
suffix, and like, for example, Masha also can be Mashechka.
Mashechka. And Mashechka would sound a little different. It would be like, kind of like gentle affection, kind of like softening type of thing, right? So less tenderness, more just simply kind of softer emotional shade. It also depends on the name. You know, they don't like, you can't say like Martinchka, like it doesn't work with my name, for example, right? So, there's other suffixes
But Vovочka, you can say
Vovочka, yeah, like Vova, Vovочka, you could say that. But then there's other suffixes that you can use, like, for example, ik or cheek, that's a suffix, right? So my mom, God, when I was a kid, my mom used to call me Martinchik.
My mom still calls you Martinchik.
And my mom still calls me Martinchik. All right. And my brother sometimes calls me Martinchik. And his wife also, like, they're older than me, so they can call me that too, right? I would never let somebody that I don't know call me that. Just FYI, right? Nuh-uh.
Even me, I don't call you Martinchik.
Yeah, that's...
Because it sounds like...
It sounds like I'm a little kid.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's like diminutive, affectionate type of emotional shade to my name, right? So, no, I'm not going to allow any stranger to call me that, of course, right? But, yeah, I mean, I can't say anything against my mom doing that, so.
There is another suffix like Yusha, Usha. So I can call you Martusha, maybe, for example. Now it sounds weird, but Manyusha, which is like Masha, can be Manyusha.
Some names, like, for example, sometimes it's actually kind of the only way to shorten a name, like the name Ksenia in Russian.
Ksyusha?
Yeah, Ksyusha with the suffix Yusha is the only way to shorten it, really. So even though this is kind of like a diminutive type of suffix, it's pretty much the only way to shorten
In
that.
Valia, Valusha.
Valentina, Valia. No, it's not the only.
Okay, sorry.
And then there is another suffix that actually sounds rougher, right? It sounds rougher, also kind of almost dismissive, depending on context. So Masha I could call Mashka.
It sounds
It
like
immediately sounds rough.
And it sounds like we're in a village somewhere.
Yeah, it sounds like almost rural, right? Like Martinka.
Martinka.
So like Sasha you could call Sashka, and this would be like what really close friends, or maybe just a bunch of guys, or maybe just kind of like a bunch of people who talk a little more, slightly more rough about each other, would refer to other people as. Ты Сашке позвонил? Did you call Sashka? Right? So it's like, it's hard to explain, but like I said, it has this slightly rougher emotional coloring to this.
And if you have, for example, Russian friend or Russian acquaintance.
Acquaintance.
It's a very hard word actually for me, acquaintance. And you doubt how to shorten
Their name?
Their name, or just you wonder
like
how to
what
shorten
the
it.
allowed ways, acceptable ways to kind of like shorten their name or give a different emotional shading to their name. Please write it in the comments. Ask us. We will happily answer your questions about the way Russian first names get modified. There is more to Russian names, to their structure, because the very structure of the Russian name consists of three parts. Is the first name, the patronymic, and the last name. So we're going to do this in a separate video, and when we do, we're going to include the link here. But that's all we have to say about that. We're going to pick our next topic out of our hat. That's what we do on this channel. Pick random topics about the Russian culture, Russian heritage, and the Russian language sometimes. While we're doing that, please don't forget to give us a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So go ahead and pick the next topic. See what we got. Oh my, are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my God. Perfect. All right.
Actually, we have a lot here. And I just pulled, why is the Russian patronymic so powerful?
Patronymic, right?
So powerful.
So by sheer stroke of luck, we picked a perfect topic to kind of flow into from this one. We're going to keep talking about the Russian names, Russian patronymic, so please stay tuned for that. And thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video about the Russian patronymic.
Patronymic.
Yes.
Okay.
Patronymic.
Отчество.
Отчество.
Yes.
So yeah, patronymic again is, we'll talk about it.